What up, guys? M.V.K here, back again. How's everybody doing on their end? So you guys have always you guys always be saying, "Yo, Chris, hey, Chris, yo, man, bro, brother, I'm the geek, dude. Watch some more scary shit. We like seeing you jump and shit." I'm like, okay, um, well, yeah, I'm here to watch more scary shit for you guys. I've always promised you guys I would watch more scary stuff. Uh, and I thought, hey, best place to go for some of this stuff would be a guy that I love to watch and things like that, and that's none other than Mr. Nightmare. Yeah, and I think after this, I may have a few nightmares. Uh, so today we're gonna watch basically three true scary horror stories. I'm right now. I'm in the back of my room. I'm in the back of my house, um, filming this stuff. Because my brother Malcolm, my brother's in the room. He's chilling with his friends. They're playing Xbox One. My Xbox One. I'm just fucking with you guys. I'm not stingy like that. Playing Battlefield, playing some online stuff, things like that. And I don't want any of that. But so right now, I'm pretty much in a room by myself. I don't jump at everything in terms of like, yo, what the fuck was that? But no, I don't do that stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, as I say before, as I always say with these scary vids or stuff, if I jump, I jump. I'm not gonna bullshit and say I didn't jump. But let's get this ball started. Here we go. Three true, true scary horror stories. Mr. Nightmare, go. You see that right there, that music and that. Okay, no jump scares, please. Nothing jumps out of these woods, please.
When me and my troublemaking friends were 13 years old, one of the many rowdy and mischievous things we would do would be Saturday night ding-dong ditch sessions.
Fucking
10
up.
years ago, we all lived on the
Nope.
same block in a typical
I used to do
suburban
that too.
neighborhood.
Ding dong
At
ditch.
the
That
time, there
shit
were a
is
lot
not
less
funny. Last
houses and
time,
more woods, though.
I'll tell you a
I'm
story
going to
about
make
that.
up names for my friends for the case of this story. There was Mark, James, and Matt. Either Mark or James were usually the ones to go up to the houses and ring the bells. Matt and
Okay.
I, on the other hand, would usually find hiding spots right away. We hit about 5 or 6 houses. I remember all of the men who answered the doors gave pretty much the same reactions. They'd step out onto the stoop, one or two would yell something, and then they'd walk back inside. For a couple of houses, we'd ring the bell again for a better reaction.
Yep.
One guy yelled he was calling the cops the second time, so when he shut his door, we all booked it down the street and went to the next block over.
Fucking
As I
up.
mentioned, 10 years ago in this neighborhood, there were patches of wood sitting where houses sit today. On the next block over, there were a few patches of wood surrounding some of the houses, and the houses on this block seemed to
Yo,
be
that
more
block looks
unkempt.
fucking creepy.
The
Yo.
first house on the block was across the street from a patch of woods, which made for a perfect hiding spot. The house was kind of run down looking. Tall grass, a ratty old car with a cover on it in the driveway,
Yep.
and overall just a small
Rule number
house.
1, don't go there.
Mark went up to ring the bell. He barely had time to make it across the street before the door opened. It was another man to answer the door. This guy really big, about 6 foot and stocky build. Unlike the others, he was furious immediately. He walked around his whole front yard checking the bushes, yelling threats. We all laughed as we always did.
That's not funny.
Eventually, he finally went back inside. Mark waited a few minutes, checked the windows, and then ran back up the stoop to ring the bell again.
This guy's.
I didn't envy him with this house. I
Yeah.
would not be bold enough to ring that man's bell again. Mark knew he probably didn't have as much time, so he ran to the side of the house and out of sight. The door opened much quicker this time, and this time the man came out with a rifle in his hand. We all
Run,
looked
get
at
the
each other,
fuck out. Nope.
simultaneously going,
Nope.
"Oh shit," under our breath.
Yup.
The man
Nope.
checked all the places he checked before,
Hell
and
no.
then a few extra places this time, like behind
Nope.
his car, behind a couple trees. And then he walked to the center of his lawn and just stood there, as if he were thinking. He looked around, and then his head stopped as he was facing us in the woods. Me, Matt, and James looked at each other.
This
He ducked
motherfucker know where
lower
they
in
are.
hopes that he didn't see us.
Hell nope.
After 10 seconds of staring in our direction, the man went back into his home.
Yeah, right.
Then, we saw him appear at his front window, standing still like a statue, looking in our direction in the woods once again.
Yup, this
We
fool
saw
know where they
looking
are.
back over to the man's front
Nope.
door. But
I'm
there
not.
was
Nope. I'm
nothing
not
we
doing
could
that.
do.
Hell no. Get the
We were
fuck
too
out.
afraid to move or yell anything. Mark rang the bell once again and ran for it.
I'm getting a
The
little
man
twitchy.
didn't move though, at least not for another minute.
Something wrong with
Then
this
he
dude. That's what
turned
it
and
is.
walked away from the window.
He ain't gone.
We didn't
Nope.
see Mark again, but we
Nope.
were still too nervous to move or say anything.
Hell no.
The next thing I remember, we heard Mark's voice from across the street yelling, "Run." We didn't understand until we heard someone running up from behind us, realizing
Hell no.
upon turning our heads that it was the man from across the street with his
Don't jump
rifle
scare.
in
No
hand,
jump. I'm not
pointed
fucking with
at
that.
us.
Don't. No jump scare, please.
We ran like little prey from a predator to Mark, who was waiting for us across the street. We ran for blocks until we were sure we lost him.
Shit. Stupid
Mark
coke
explained that he
scared
yelled
me.
when he
Felt
saw
like
the
touch
man
my head.
sneaking across the
Okay.
street into the patch of woods with his gun.
You
We didn't report
see?
him or any of what happened. We just told a few friends and that was it.
See, fucking up.
Luckily the house
Nope.
was many blocks from us, so
Hell
we never
no.
really had to pass it again.
I got a story about that. Ding dong diction. I'll tell that after. Okay, I don't like this music.
I lived in a house from hell for a couple of weeks. I was
Okay.
a college student, and my parents were paying for a house for me to live in. I'm spoiled, I know. Well, the house was modest, nothing fancy or huge, and I was happy with it. Well, for the first few days anyway. Then things quickly started getting strange.
Why?
On a rainy Saturday
People
with
living in
nothing
it?
to do, I was watching TV for a few hours. That was when I heard a scrape on my living room floor. I looked around
Somebody
the
living
room
up-
thinking an animal got into
Somebody
the house
living
or
down
something.
below. People under
I
the
sat
stairs.
back down and resumed watching TV. That was the first weird occurrence. The rain continued throughout the rest of the day and into the night, which made for an excuse to not go out. I stayed in watching more TV in the living room. I perked up when I thought I heard something from the kitchen. Laughably, I took a pillow with me as, I guess, some sort of weapon and walked over to the kitchen doorway. There, in the middle of the dark kitchen, was a box of Cheerios on the floor, spilling out hundreds of the tiny O's. I had no idea how that could have happened. Nevertheless, I dropped the pillow and began cleaning up the Cheerios off the floor.
This
As I
fucking
was
house
doing
is
so,
haunted, ain't
I
it?
heard a creak, like the sound weak areas of a wood floor make when someone steps on them.
Bitch.
It was by the
man.
kitchen table.
Sounds,
I
man.
looked up, but nobody was there. I knew I was going crazy now. Every little
house is
sound
haunted.
must have been making me paranoid. I cleaned the Cheerios and went back to watching TV. The thunder outside was getting louder as the bulk of the storm seemed to be passing overhead. Yet I found it to be strangely relaxing. That was the last thing I
Well,
remember,
rain will do that,
appreciating
you know.
the sound of the storm outside, before waking up from what seemed to be an hour-long doze. The TV was still on, but that wasn't what woke me. I remember believing I woke up to a bang or thud from downstairs. Regardless, I turned off the
Don't
TV
make no sound
and
with it,
marched
please.
upstairs to bed. The next day was normal, as was the day after that. It wasn't until the next gray, rainy day that strange things started happening again. I woke up in my bed that morning feeling like I had been drinking all night the night before. I felt sicker than I'd ever felt with any hangover before. I didn't do much walking around that day. The gloomy dark weather only made me more bedridden. I left the TV in my bedroom on all day just as background noise, with a garbage pail by my side in case I had to puke. At midday, I muted the TV after hearing sounds coming from above me.
That's
The attic. The attic door was actually in my bedroom, and most of the
That-
attic was built over
oh,
that bedroom.
this
It
place
wasn't
is
just
haunted.
one thud I heard, it was 3 or 4. I managed to get out of bed, despite the
Bitch,
fact that
man,
every
that's
time I
I'm
moved,
getting
I wanted to
paranoid now
puke.
myself.
I pulled the string to the attic door down, took one of my old baseball bats with me, and climbed up the steps. I pulled the light switch down to light up the attic. There were a few old boxes that must have belonged to the previous owners scattered about, but I couldn't see any living things to produce those noises. I climbed back down quickly because I was kind of scared of that attic. There were no more
God,
noises. Until that night. I woke up to, at first, what I thought was thunder, still feeling a bit sick. The familiar sound of a thud from up in the attic gave me chills. I pulled the string to the attic door back down, took my baseball bat once again, and climbed up the stairs. I made myself angry and screamed in the most intimidating voice I could.
Yeah, that's
But
gonna
before I
work.
could turn the light on, I heard the sound of a child giggling in the pitch-black attic.
The hell, man.
Words
Get
cannot
out.
describe the feeling of
Run.
weightlessness, the feeling of my
Get the fuck
insides
out.
dropping inside of my body, the fear that I felt. The word fear is not enough to describe what I felt at that moment.
Get out.
I
Get
was
the
out of that
fuck
house
out.
so fast, I don't even remember running.
Smart.
I called my dad
Smart.
in the cold rain and asked him to pick me up. I explained everything the best I could. My parents saw how emotional I was about this, and in a weird sense, I think they believed me. I packed all of my things up with my parents the next day and moved back home. To this day, I'm convinced what I experienced in that house was completely paranormal.
All right, y'all. End it right there. You guys want to check out the last story? You have to go to Mr. Nightmare's channel. Link in the description below to watch it. Cause yeah, didn't think I was gonna chop it up, did you? But I did. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. That stuff got me a little creeped out. Like I said, this coat here touched me in the back of my head, and I flipped like, yo, who touched me? Uh, I thought I was hearing somebody outside the door laughing. Yeah, that stuff got me a little freaked out. Okay, I'm not, like I said. All right, so one of the stories, the Ding Dong Ditch story. All right, look, I'm tell you a story. Yeah, back in the day, um, my cousins and I used to do that stuff too, Ding Dong Ditching, and I had a similar experience like that story, except that the guy didn't come out with no goddamn shotgun or no gun. We were doing it once. It was like 11 or 12. I was 11, 12, we'll say right there. And yeah, we were ding dong ditching, messing around, joking around. Thought it was funny, thought it was cool. I was young and I didn't care. I was just having fun with my cousins, and we did it one time to this last guy's house. Bing dong, he comes out and don't see anybody, and ding dong, we do it again. He runs out and nothing there, and so we did it. So we did it again, and the door opens up, and this motherfucker sicked his big ass rock waller out there, and yeah, we jetted and jumped on a truck just to make sure that dog didn't catch us. And I'll never forget that Rottweiler was fierce. He was big. I swear that his eyes were red. He had like the fucking devil in him. And we did never went back to that guy's house ever again. And the scariest thing about it was, yeah, similar to what that story was. He was on the end of a block. The house was like really in a kind of a connection where you had to sneak, like he had to go between another house just to get there. It was like in the back of another house, and you had to go through like this long corridor and alleyway, and it was ain't fucking shit. So yeah, man, I know that I kind of understood that story in a sense, because the way I'll never get the way that door opened up, it didn't it didn't like open up. It just opened up, and not even a minute, this big ass rockwaller comes running out, and all he did was just whistle. and it came running back. We just heard a whistle, and it didn't find us, but we jumped on a car just in case, and because we could see it coming around. My cousins like see it coming around like one of the another car, like it was looking for it. What scares me most, I think the guy did know we were in that area, so he sent his dog after us. So that was a scary thing to do. But other than that, guys, yeah, two scary horror stories. Link in the comment section below for this video, so you can go watch the last story for Mr. Nightmare. Like I said, I usually chop up Mr. Nightmare's video, so you can check it out for yourself. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the kind of the story. I'll never forget it. Uh, and I like Rockwallers too. They're one of my favorite dog species. But that one looked fierce. It looked like it'd been in many fights, and looked like it had the goddamn devil in it. I'll never forget it. But other than that, you guys take care, and I'm gonna go play some Tekken 7 or something just to get my mind off for some of these things, because yeah, I don't like having that kind of stuff in my head. But other than that, you guys take care. Smart and Vernon Kid. Peace.